Word up, Toronto Truth Seekers are out here on the streets. It's another Saturday, and we are 1 week away from the G20. That's right, the countdown is on. And next weekend, you know, things are definitely going to be locked down. In fact, they've already set up the fences. This is a Fortress Toronto.
They are everywhere. Thousands of cops from different cities across Canada have converged on the downtown core. The federal government has spent about $1 billion overall for security on the G8 summit in Huntsville and the G20 summit in Toronto, mainly to protect against terrorist threats. But according to the head of CSIS, who spoke to Peter Mansbridge earlier today, the main security concern is from protest groups.
I think surprisingly little on the terrorism front. We don't think there is anyone who's really interested in doing any harm from that perspective. On the other hand, anarchist groups, multi-issue extremists, yes, there is. There's a fair bit.
And some of those groups who were out protesting today already clashed with cops. Police may have backed off today, but the riot gear they carry, the steel fencing that surrounds several city streets, this old film studio that is now a makeshift jail, all suggest police aren't likely to back down when the summit starts.
The other thing that's going on, we're hearing this morning published reports that the Army is sending in snipe shooters to be on the top of buildings. That is a precaution. It's something that happens when all kinds of VIPs, especially the President of the United States, are in town. So it's just another sign that the city is being completely turned over.
What are they spending it on? We've got a few cartoons, you know, they're talking about a fake lake, you know, which is beginning a bit played out now, but it's just one example of the ridiculousness of what's going on. $1.2 billion. Well, the people are out. We've got an arrest, apparently, in the bank firebombing.
And Ottawa police have made arrests in the firebombing of an RBC bank branch last month. Investigators say charges are pending in connection with the May 18th attack. It was recorded and posted online. A self-styled anarchist group claimed responsibility for the bombing and promised further action during the G8 and G20 summit meetings in Huntsville and Toronto.
That's still a mystery, what really happened there. You know, we're wondering what will Toronto do before the G20. Site of Pittsburgh last year. This is what it could be like next week. So make sure you check out TorontoTruthSeekers.com and PressForTruth.ca for updates.
In the trade union movement of the old guard and the new guard is, you know, these are the real revolutionaries, and they're talking about a more direct action, say, than the trade union movement. And then there's the whole situation that took place in Ottawa, where someone supposedly blew up a bank and they did $300,000 worth of damage, and some people feel that maybe the state did that themselves in order to create such a situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that could well be. The role of the RCMP and of the security services for decades, well, since the beginning, has been to subvert protest and opposition to the corporate agenda, to the securing of ever bigger profits. And there's lots of experiences, both in the trade union movement and that the Communist Party has had with provocation and efforts to sabotage and so forth. I think there were police were identified because while they were wearing street clothes and attempting to look like everybody else, they forgot to take their police boots off.
Police now say they'll have a water cannon available if protests get out of hand. And 3 men charged in the May 18th firebombing of a bank in Ottawa made a brief court appearance today, but a decision on a bail hearing was put off. A self-proclaimed anarchist group has claimed responsibility for the attack and promised to protest at the upcoming summits.
The peaceful protests, and that's a right in Canada,
Absolutely.
And it's jealously guarded, but there are some people they call anarchists who just want to rip down.
Yes.
And so for those, that's why I have the security.
Absolutely. And the cost of security here and in Huntsville, in Muskoka, are very large. We wish we didn't have to pay them, but they are the product of the recommendations of our police and security agencies. and if all goes as planned, they will minimize and they will interdict and they will contain any folks who might abuse their right to free speech, free association, and free assembly.
I know a lot of the demonstrators, the vast majority of them are peaceful people, are, you know, against the security state, but what we're seeing is a new type of weaponry. That's right, LRAD sound cannon, long-range acoustic device. This is a tough one if you're close by it and they turn it on because it's really loud. Sometimes you'll see this on the top of a big truck. Other times, I guess they can just hold it.
Yeah.
Sonic cannon will make the vuvuzela sound like a mini Ripperton or
Right.
or
They're worried about things like newspaper boxes being thrown and being tipped over, so they've removed all newspaper boxes from the downtown core. They've also removed all garbage cans from the downtown core, and they're cracking down on the people that are protesting already. They're getting vandals, people that were spray painting on banks, anti-G20 slogans, arrested. There's a few guys in London that got arrested for putting up posters about the Community Mobilization Network, about the protests.
2 London political activists spent the night in police cells after they were arrested for 7 counts of public mischief related to gluing posters on mailboxes and hydro boxes promoting protests at the upcoming G20 summit in Toronto. Andrew Kadant and Darius Mershahi appeared in court on Wednesday, where they were released on conditions they maintain their residences and abide by the laws of Canada.
I did have plans to peacefully assemble in Toronto, yes. As far as I see, that's still going to happen, because that's our right as a citizen, right?
Everybody should take part in the political process and try and work for a better world. And I think that that's a really important thing that we should all take on. And the apathy in this culture is sad. I think that people need to be more engaged in trying to make a better world.
Defense lawyers say they are shocked at how the young men were treated.
I think it perhaps reflects a too great a concern on the part of the government to try to keep under control legitimate protest.
I would have thought that young people taking part in the political process would have been applauded, not arrested.
London police said it isn't unusual for them to hold accused mischief makers overnight before their court appearances. They say the posters had negative messages about the summit and wanted a further investigation. The 2 men's cases returned to court on June 29th.
You know, we've been briefed, but until you actually see the fences go up, the scope of this event still is unfolding and still amazes us all. I think it's going to be quite a distraction for the next month. That's an understatement.
Gangs unit has taken over the investigation into shots that were fired in the G20 traffic zone. The gunshots were heard around 3:30 this morning near the Hyatt Regency Hotel at King and Peter. Several off-duty RCMP officers heard it and then saw a black BMW speed away from the scene. Officers say no one was hit by the gunfire, but the search for the suspect's vehicle continued.
And you have to consider that when he says they have not picked up any threats, terror threats, that is not just coming from CSIS. That is coming from intelligence agencies across the world. CSIS is very much an alliance and intelligence outfit. It deals very closely with the CIA, FBI, British intelligence, and has about 150 international partners. So that means they're not picking up anything, any chatter, any sign of something at least in the terrorist realm.
I hope we don't have any criminals on the street, because we got facial recognition cameras that can find out who you are, especially for the G20. Facial recognition cameras on the poles as you pass by. Make sure you smile and wave high.